Xiang. Inside only a couple of years, it replaces conventional energy sources. Also, urban areas see a phenomenal and really quick turn of events. Tragically, utilizing such a great deal of this energy likewise stands out of a type of outsiders that one day carries their boats to assault every one of the significant urban areas across the globe as retribution for taking the Xiang. The assault comes as a complete astonishment and leaves every one of the urban communities in ruins without Xiang to rely upon. At last, the heads of 97 nations hold a crisis meeting in Shanghai to make a novel protection framework to save the last standing city on the planet. Utilizing a reproduction that plays the outsiders sending their flying robots for another assault, the Dark Hawk Group, shaped by Zhang, Zhongyu, Yi, and Skillet, controls the most recent models of military robots to draw in the robots in a fight. Their collaboration is brilliant on the grounds that they each have abilities that complete one another, and they were prepared by Authority Lin Land herself. Authority Yi Yun is extremely content with the outcomes, and notification Zhang is especially great at guiding. Lin Lan affirms this by saying he's awesome by a long shot. It ends up, Zhang used to be essential for the calculated group that fabricated the Shanghai gun, which permitted Shanghai to be the last standing fortification. Yet, as things got most obviously awful, he joined the combating group to help. After one more day spent preparing, Zhang passes on the workplace and hurries to the lift so he can leave with Lin Lan, with who Zhang has a keen interest. Today it's Lin Lan's birthday. Furthermore, Zhang needs to gift her a rose, yet he's bashful and reluctant. When he assembles mental fortitude, Lin Lan is now leaving the lift. Later at home, Zhang sends her a message about the present preparation and is happy to see her response. He got along nicely. In a little while, Yi Yun illuminates Lin Lan that New Delhi has likewise tumbled to an outsider assault, and he believes she should utilize the data accumulated there to work on their guards. Abruptly, code red is declared in the stronghold. It turns out an outsider mothership has shown up above Shanghai. Individuals start overreacting all around the city, yet all the same, soon the warriors guide them to the comparing covers prior to joining their groups at the fortification. Among their numerous protections, the city has an exceptional power field that stops the laser shaft the mothership opens its assault with. Anyway, the power field can't bear up for a really long time, and when the shaft makes do to make an opening, the outsiders send a multitude of robots through it before the specialists fix it. The pilots promptly send their robots to battle them, being mindful so as not to hurt any non-military personnel that is still racing to a haven. One of the robots moves toward the stronghold and grounds in the street, causing an auto collision that nearly hits a young lady. Fortunately, Zhang pushes her far removed simply in time. Then, at that point, the robot starts taking shots at everything in its way, so the mounted gun group starts shooting to attempt to stop it, without any result. Zhang attempts to help to absent a lot of karma, yet at that point a tank constrained by Lin Lan shows up and annihilates it in a flash. The robots complete the process of bringing down the rest of the robots with perfect timing for the architects to wrap up fixing the power field. In this way the mothership leaves the region until further notice. Afterward, the Science Division illuminate the board of trustees that they checked the mothership during the battle and found a flimsy spot in it. The board needs to utilize the Shanghai cannon to hit it, yet Yi Yun doesn't let them on the grounds that a counter-assault could put individuals' lives in danger. Subsequently, Yi Yun takes Lin Lan to a solid office to make sense of Shanghai as the last store of Xiang, which is profoundly temperamental and the main thing that pushes the city along, counting the stronghold and the power field. In the event that they shoot the gun, they would squander all the remaining Xiang and leave the city unprotected. The most ideal way to keep the outsiders under control is to keep preparing their hawk group so they can supplant the power field one day. In the interim, Zhang, furthermore, his companions are hanging out on a housetop, sharing a beverage and their fantasies about what they'd do with their lives in the event that they weren't at war. The container specifically needs to complete his bicycle and ride it uninhibitedly. They're out of nowhere hindered by a crisis call that reports the city is under assault once more, so they rush back to the stronghold, prepared to battle. As expected, the power field comes up to stop the approaching shafts, but Dish sees something unusual. While many openings in the safeguard have been accomplished, the adversary robots actually don't assault. This causes him to understand this is a snare. The outsiders are making them fix the field again and again so they'll run out of Xiang and the city will be unprotected. The following time a bar goes through the field, it causes loads of harm inside the stronghold, and the robots at last advance in. The troopers must choose the option to battle eye to eye. However, simple shots aren't sufficient, and a large number of them pass on simultaneously. The Falcons join the fight as reinforcement to help. However, They can't do a lot and really like to head inside to deal with the robots. While the Hawks utilize the robots to start fixing the power field, the panel conflicts with Yi-yoon's requests and sends a man to enact the cannon. They don't actually utilize the full ability to try not to lose all their shantang, however, it stirs things up around town adequately hard. The birds additionally effectively wrap up fixing the field, so the mothership must choose between limited options yet to disappear. Close by, a robot uncovers not to be pretty much as obliterated as they naturally suspected. Later at night, the Falcons invest some energy in their own side interests, and Jang thinks for even a second to at last welcome Lin. Len is on a bicycle ride. Anyway, this ends up being a fantasy, yet when Jang awakens he finds there is other uplifting news. The Falcons have been elevated thanks to their astonishing presentation last night. Yi concludes they need to commend their advancement, and the group goes to a club to have fun, yet Jang can't quit pondering Lin Lan. While he's agonizing on the rooftop, Yi sees his state of mind and exhorts him not to be reluctant to admit his sentiments to Lin Lan, since who knows whether the outsiders will allow him to do as such from here on out. In a little while, the group watches on television how the man that shot the gun gets a shockingly better advancement, and during his discourse, he makes reference to a cherished one. Jang thinks this is Lin Lan and gets feeling really blue. Later at night, Jang goes to a noodle eatery for supper and is shocked to track down Lin Lan there. They examine the tension of saving the world and regret the lives lost in the fight. Perceiving how tense Lin Lan is, Jang is at last valiant enough to give her the gift as a method of encouraging her. After she leaves, Jang sends her a message requesting that she meet the following day, and he's happy to see her acknowledge. The following day, Dish and Zung Yu put Jang in a cowhide coat to dazzle his date. Anyway, Yi thinks it's not fitting and makes him wear his uniform, all things considered. Minutes after the fact, Jang meets with Lin Lan and is frustrated to hear she simply needed to meet to keep an eye on the generators. While Jang does the support, Lin Lan educates him concerning her preparation days and how her dad had been a virus fighter that passed on in the fight. Lin Lan can't resist the urge to cry at the memory, and as she watches the sky, she lets Jang know that she trusts they can fabricate a future where children can gaze upward and see the stars rather than the shafts that keep up the power field. In a little while, individuals alarm when that's what they notice. The ground is beginning to part, as though an undetectable seismic tremor has stirred things up around town. Yi-yoon lets the council know that the energy stores aren't steady and the utilization of the cannon has exacerbated it. Importance: there's a gamble of the power field will go down soon. Unexpectedly, an alarm cautions them that breaks have strangely shown up on the power field, so Yi-yoon surges back to the order focus to direct the Hawks into fixing them. On account of talented cooperation, the field returns to ordinary, yet going on like this is short-term. At that point, a robot gets through the rooftop into the war room and starts killing individuals. The troopers attempt to stop it with their weapons, yet slugs can't harm it. Skillet takes a stab at hitting it with a fire quencher, yet it sits idle either, and the robot feels free to dish consequently prior to hauling him to the power field, bored to handicap it. With his perishing breath, Dish actuates the fall to pieces arrangement, and Jang. What's more, Zung Yu needs to drag a crying Yi out before the room detonates. With the robot obliterated, the power field returns right away. At night, the group pauses for a minute to grieve container and different losses with the regard they merit, and Yi's given Dish's labels. When they return to their residences, Jang gives Yi Dish's bicycle key since he had for practically forever believed she should have it. In a little while, the board examines the choice of abandoning Shanghai, yet Yi-yoon denies. What's more, uncovers he's made a fighting arrangement for their last opportunity. The thought is to close down the power field. What's more, direct all that capacity to the cannon so that it'll be sufficiently able to really obliterate the mothership. The bird should be the guard rather than the safeguard, and the group acknowledges the mission regardless of whether it's unbelievably hazardous. Yi-yoon likewise requests that Lin Lan stays in the Xiong room. Also, stands alert. All regular citizens are sent away to cover until the roads are totally vacant. This will permit warriors to battle all the more uninhibitedly and have tanks everywhere. Before they join the battle, each fighter leaves an item